Sure, you want to go around and say everyone's name?
Sure, that's a good idea. Ryan Quimby.
Mark Manalakis.
Ralph Page.
Jim Leiden.
Tim Manning.
And Connor O'Shea.
Members not present are George Kingston and Rich Ficero, who should be late. So we have plenty of time to nominate them for things. Let's see. Up first, approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of
Our last meeting.
our last meeting.
So moved.
I'll second it.
The motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll abstain as I was not here. Motion carries. Minutes are approved from our previous meeting. Next, begin review of bylaws starting in order with chapter 1.
So through the chair, Jeannie printed up copies of the home rule charter and the first section of the bylaws, and then we've gone on and printed up the second section. I don't remember who wanted them. Did you want it?
I'm good. I got it here.
I would like a copy of that one.
Full
you.
copy for
Full
you.
copy, thank you.
Look at that. I think George had said he wanted
Thanks
one.
again.
I was looking for a copy. Tim, would you
I'll
like?
take one if it's available.
Absolutely. I already gave one to Rich.
Perfect.
Perfect. George, me, done. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I missed the first meeting. I had a previous engagement and all kinds of things happened.
Just for the record, when Jeannie printed them, we didn't have a table of contents. They didn't print one, so I printed it up and I included it with the handouts.
Okay, good.
Although I didn't use the 3-hole punch, I'm so sorry. I will work on that.
We'll let it slide.
Next time in 10 years.
Those guys, some of the docs I get for work to read.
Well, the charter's basically there for reference, so you don't even have to read that one really. Ryan will explain it to you.
Yeah.
It's like college, just stay a week ahead. That's all. Yeah.
You got it all pulled up, Ryan? Would you like a paper copy?
Why am I not thinking?
No,
about
are you doing the table of contents?
I don't have a table. I mean,
Yeah, they won on the online version because I couldn't get them either.
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Would you like a table of contents?
Yeah, why aren't they on the website?
We can put it in between us.
That's a good question, I don't know.
Do you have
They're
an
in my good book.
Do you have an extra? Thank you, Ralph.
You'll have another one?
Yeah, I'll take it. Let's do it today.
See, Ralph, the one for this committee was stuck. We've been adjourning already.
Oh, because yeah, it says chapter 1.
Because it starts with the table of contents,
Chapter 1, article 1.
then charter, council rules, then general bylaws. So if you look in E code, it's probably way before the bylaw portion. If you pull up just E code, the table of contents should be there.
Yeah, so chapter 1, which is what we're doing here, right? 140. So,
Yeah, I think we said we were just gonna start in order until we find otherwise, or need to revisit something.
So you said there was an error on the table of contents last time?
I wouldn't call it an error, but what I would say is like, under administrative, the first one, you've got general provisions, then Article 1, Article 2, Article 3. If you look under emergency services, again, Article 1, Article 2, so it lists the departments. But when you come to the second page, number 250, Actually, it should be Planning and Community Development Department. Departments. There's no building department or anything listed anywhere in the table of contents. So I would think under Planning and Community Development, that somewhere in there would be the building department and the departments that are listed under that. Because if you're just looking in the table of contents, you're not gonna find the building department anywhere. And it's like, oh, okay, well, where do I find that? So I just think it's something as we go
So-
through these and we find different things that we revert back and just make sure that they're in the table of contents where they should be.
So
So
is
like
this something-
specifically like on line 250 where it says planning board, that should be the building department or whatever you said, and then planning board and other things underneath it, like Article 1, Article 2.
So if you're looking under departments,
Yep.
one of the departments is the building department. But the building department is a sub-department of planning and community development. So,
Yeah, so neither are really listed.
right,
Yeah.
Same thing with like Recreation Commission and Rec Department then too.
yeah, there's a few different ones in there. Like I said, I think it was more, when we did this, we were really concerned about the bylaws and not as much the table of contents, assuming E-code would do whatever they needed to.
So it looks like their table of contents doesn't list everything.
Everything,
Right.
exactly.
Because I'm wondering, like, why is the IT department called up? That's it. Because there's.
Yeah.
So there might actually be a building department, just not in that table. Of
Yeah, there's a
contents.
building department in the bylaws.
Yeah.
It's just not in the table of contents, and I tend, especially on E-code, to look at the table of contents to find where to go within the.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But that's something we can go back to. We got plenty of other stuff. Rich, how are you?
You're early.
Would you
You-
hand
you
this
already
down
gave
to
me-
Rich? That's the other half.
The other half, oh, fantastic.
Well, remember you went, man, there's not much here. Well, you were right.
You already voted on the minutes.
We made you chair, actually.
That's where we saved that seat.
So Ryan, what's your suggestion on going through? You wanna Go through each line by line?
We can. I'm thinking at least to start out, because I'm guessing many of us haven't read chapter 1 or have suggested.
Not since
Suggestions?
I moved here.
So we can go through chapter 1 quickly, and then if anyone has anything, well, you can just stop there and review.
And then what we would, for like the next meeting, would you like homework to do? For the next meeting,
Homework.
we've read it already, and then we can come in and discuss it.
Yeah. Like we could start off like, well, Ralph made a great point at the table of contents. It like doesn't list everything. It just kind of skips around where it is not very clear. Like human resources, then it has Article 1, human resources underneath that. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue it's by the section number you cite the articles, but again, it should be part article, just for
Right.
purposes of the nomenclature. So like Articles 1, 2, 3, and administrative, great. Fire, police 1, fire 2, human resources,
Yeah.
that'd be 3.
Where's that coming from?
Oh,
Ralph's table of contents.
I don't know if I
You
still
gotta
have
send
one.
that down.
Let's see what I got for you.
I've got the home charter,
You
I've
can
got.
have this one.
Okay,
So I can pull up any code.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have another one.
Alright,
Okay, no, I'm so sorry about that.
I got it back. So let's see, we'll start at the top. Division 1 bylaws, part 1. Chapter 1, general provisions. Has the general. Need a TV. Working on it for next time. So we'll go through it a little better. We'll start out in general provisions. I'm gonna have to read all this, aren't I? General provisions. These bylaws are hereby entitled General Bylaws for the Town of East Long Meadow, Massachusetts, to distinguish them from the bylaws of the town dealing with special subjects such as zoning and subdivisions. Good?
So, just out of curiosity, our job is to review general bylaws. So if I read this, general bylaws is different than the zoning bylaws.
You know, do they sit above them?
So
Like in
the
the
zoning
regulatory
bylaws,
hierarchy.
when they were done, are actually section 450 of the general bylaws. So is this something you adjust the wording on? So that general bylaws, zoning bylaws are part of the general bylaws?
I think there's like 3 confusing parts to it.
Yeah.
Like, when we made it chapter 450, it's like part of our general bylaws, so I think the committee should be reviewing all of it. But I think in terms of like mass general law, they are still treated differently,
Separately.
and general bylaws aren't the same as zoning ones. But then I didn't reread it, but I thought there was a part somewhere in one of these first few bylaws that says like chapters 1 through 500 or something, and it's like, but that includes the
Right.
zoning by referencing the numbers that way. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would think the general bylaws of the town sit above all other bylaws within the town.
Is the committee's preference to go through the zoning bylaws as well?
I would say yes.
I know Ralph wants to.
Well, so we actually have
Yeah,
a
and we
grant
have
to
a-
help us once we get to that part.
Oh, that's right, with the
But I
Yeah.
PVPC.
I consider the zoning bylaws to be part of our bylaws.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
Should
You know-
that last sentence just be struck then?
Yeah, I mean, everything after to, starting with to distinguish.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. These bylaws are hereby entitled General Bylaws of the Town of East Long Meadow, Massachusetts. If we
Yeah,
want to keep
because
something, we could say
subdivisions
there's-
aren't part of a bylaw.
Yeah,
true,
It's
those are just rules
subdivision
and
control
reg-
law. Huh.
yeah, and if we wanted to keep something, we could, you know, say period, special subjects such as zoning and subdivisions are found in specific sections or whatever.
Okay, so what are we saying on the floor now for 1B?
So under 1A,
1A, I'm sorry, 1A, I apologize, yeah.
just have it read, these bylaws are hereby entitled General Bylaws for the Town of East Long Meadow, Massachusetts.
Period.
Period.
Okay.
And then remove the rest.
So I have, I took the PDF from the website, put
Yep.
it into a Word document. I'll track the changes.
Oh, nice.
Then
Send
what
it out.
me and Connor were talking about is I can put that into a Google Doc, and then we can have like view only access open to the public, and then like we can have modify, not modify, but suggesting.
Edit lines,
Yeah.
You realize that means you can't miss a single meeting.
Well, but if it's a shared doc, like I was gonna suggest doing something like that.
Yeah, I have no clue on
the-
it, so,
Yeah, same here.
It's pretty easy, especially if we put it on the screen, everybody can see
Yeah,
it
that'd
be
if it's
nice,
live,
yeah.
so.
The one point that we have to be sure of is that we don't talk, like communicate through there. So I'm like, oh, we should change this to the town of Rhinewood.
Oh, yeah.
Like you
yeah.
have to wait till the public meeting to do that. So like just
Makes
basically
sense.
one way comments.
One
on it.
living document so we all know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's going
yeah,
on?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Understood.
So we got that.
1B.
1B. These bylaws shall not affect any act done, any right accrued, any penalty incurred, any suit, prosecution, or proceedings pending, or the tenure of office of any person holding office at the time when they take effect. Is this a holdover from when it was first put into place?
What's the point of this?
So what they're basically saying is if a bylaw is in effect and let's say you wipe it out, If there was a penalty or something involved with that, that's still in effect. In other words, you don't
Oh.
lose that because of it changing.
See your point, yes.
It's like a grandfather, I guess,
Yeah.
Yeah.
grandfather clause.
Yep.
Any changes or leave it?
Makes good sense.
C, any or all of these bylaws may be repealed or amended, or other bylaws may be adopted by the town council pursuant to the requirements in the town charter. Seems kind of
Very
straightforward.
straightforward, yep, that's a check.
Alright, look at that.
We're flying.
First section done. General penalty. Whoever violates any of these provisions of these bylaws, whereby any act or thing is enjoined or prohibited shall, unless other provision is expressly made, forfeit and pay a fine not exceeding $200 for each offense. Unless otherwise provided by statute or these bylaws, all fees, fines, or other money collected in the name on or of or on behalf of the town or by any town officer, board or committee shall be turned over to the collector treasurer.
Right. And
So
then-
we can only do
yeah.
fees up to $200, and the town collector has to take it all.
Okay, yeah, so it just goes in the general.
So
fund.
not necessarily. So if it's not specifically set out within the bylaw, it's $200.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
If somewhere else in the bylaw it says this one's 100 or
Yeah,
this
some of the
one's
back like
300.
20, and, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, I don't know, like dog off the leash or something, what goes to the rec department, just hypothetical.
yeah. Like I said, and there are different fees throughout, which I think is one of the things we talked about, maybe trying to remove a lot of those and only putting them in the fee schedule.
I mean, is this,
Yeah.
is this penalty implying that the police are the ones that give the fine? You know, who gives the fine? The town council, the police, the committee, the school committee?
I think it's whatever's defined in the bylaws.
So the
So
town
the-
council can fine somebody?
No, like the DPW, overgrown
I thought we
shrubbery,
had
police,
delegated our
fire.
authority to
Yeah.
the police.
So under the, not the zoning, but under the general bylaws, we've authorized the police department
Okay,
to be able to ticket people for it.
okay.
Under the zoning bylaws,
Yeah.
it's the building commissioner who's authorized to do it.
Okay,
But either one of those could, like the building commissioner could have, let's say, a sub-inspector. He could authorize them to be able to do
that's
it.
the biggest office, okay.
Do they need
We're on the
approval
moon? Yes, they need approval
to
through the council.
sub-delegate?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
As far as, that was my interpretation, because we had to authorize the police to be able to do it.
Yeah, because
So I would assume
remember
if
we.
there's someone else, we would have to.
Yes, I think so.
I don't think you want just anyone.
Well, that's what I'm
running.
asking, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
give me a book of tickets. We'll be out of debt in no time.
Yeah.
So I think 1, 2 then sticks the way it is.
I have a couple questions.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I think similar to what Ralph said, actually putting the dollar amount in there, should we change the language anytime we see it in any of the bylaws to say like C, chapter 500?
Well, I
So
think this
that-
one sets the maximum that's not in there,
I like to
right?
see
Yeah, but I think
200.
we put it in 500 too.
Oh, you think you changed the maximum amount?
Yeah, I would say increase it from 200, but. Oh, fee schedules at the back?
Yeah,
with that, but I don't see
the
anything-
idea there was that we're just maintaining the amounts in one spot instead of like in two different places, and then they get out of sync. And
Yeah.
So the very first thing is bylaw violations, $200. Subsection 1-2. So, yes, it refers back to this in the fee schedule.
What fee schedule? I'm looking at 135-4.
No, next group,
Uh-oh.
and it should be at the very end
yeah,
of it.
think
I
it's like the last one. we
think
did.
if they chose to do the fee schedule, they may not have included the fee schedule, which is 500.
Yeah.
No, yeah, okay.
This fee schedule,
Gotcha. Then once, sorry to jump ahead, but there's a fee schedule in chapter 135 for the town clerk.
Yeah,
But that's
some
for
of-
information, it was like the marriage licenses and death certificates?
Yeah, some of them had them,
Yeah.
so,
And that's
So
a,
this isn't a bylaw violation.
That's
No,
a-
exactly, yeah.
and that's a fine as opposed to a fee.
Yeah,
Right.
understood, yeah. So.
So
yeah,
chapter
okay,
five hundred is actually fees, fines, and penalty schedule.
Okay, alright, so it's just a differentiate, okay.
If everyone wants, it's up to you guys, I can
I think, yeah.
I can print up the fee schedule if that helps.
No, I don't think so, yeah.
Are we staying with the 200, or do I hear a movement?
So I think having the number there, just saying it up front and then referring to the fee schedule makes sense. But if we wanna say just see the fee schedule, I guess I'm okay with that, but.
Yeah, I think it's kind of something we struggle with on the council sometimes, is things get out of whack and out of sync, doesn't
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
make it a little more
yeah, you're just.
user friendly.
I think the main
Yeah.
concern is each year we're gonna go through the fee schedule to adjust any fees.
Right.
And then we have to make sure if we're gonna leave some of the fees within all the bylaws, that we
We got-
make a motion that
go change Article 1.
any of these
Yeah.
fees related throughout would be changed.
So-
E-code usually does that pretty
Yeah,
good.
so instead of not exceeding 200, not exceeding the maximum fee set in the fee schedule in section.
It's 500, because
Yeah.
the intent of section 500 is to have all the fees in one spot, right?
Yeah, so that you as a member of the public could look and say, these are all the things
Here's
the
my
town of
menu
East
of
Long Meadow
fees."
is gonna charge me for
Yeah.
doing things.
Yeah, I think just referring to the fee schedule works, or the fine schedule.
So unless another provision is expressly made forfeit and pay a fine not exceeding amount
So
set
it's not a-
forth in chapter 500?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a particular part, Ralph, in chapter 500, like a subsection or anything in there, or is it just in the table?
500.
500-1,
Oh, okay, then maybe we say 500.
which is general fees,
Yeah.
fines, and penalties.
Yeah. And then if you want to add sticky in the other one, just to update the reference on the back end, so it's not a dead reference. So in the PDF that you had open,
This one?
yeah, it's just striking the 1-2 reference.
Oh, is it in here?
Well,
Yeah, or
so-
under item service, just fee $200. We don't need to say the reference anymore because it doesn't say.
You could
that.
kind of leave that because it just references a point in the bylaw that gives
This authority.
Gives
Yeah.
authority
Yeah.
to that
Okay,
chapter.
Okay, all right.
So what are we looking at?
Yeah.
So under 1-2, instead of saying not exceeding 200,
Yeah.
should we change that to, as,
He's got it
Not
set-
exceeding
As-
an amount set forth in
Yeah, maybe
chapter
not
500-1.
Yeah.
Set forth or outline. Grammarly wants outline.
pay a fine
Yeah.
outline,
as set
chapter-
forth under 500-1 fee schedule or something?
It's up, yeah.
yeah.
I can't see. You guys are gonna be making me switch classes back and forth?
Mode of procedure, as we make these changes, should we be voting on them? Or should we wait till the end of the meeting and vote them all in at once?
I think all at once. We're stopping for a lot of votes if it's every.
Yeah, that's what I was asking, okay.
Or at least at the end of every
500-1.
Every
bylaw
meeting.
number.
Yes.
Or something. Okay, so we would say an
Amount outlined in chapter 500-1, okay?
I would just maybe put in there too the general fee and fine schedule next to the, just to be as descriptive as
Yeah,
possible.
name it, whatever the name is of that actual chapter.
Fee, fine, and penalty schedule.
You guys thought this was gonna go quick.
You know,
Not as soon as I saw your name on there.
I've been to too many meetings with you now.
Alright, other than that, I'm good on 1-2.
The one suggestion I would have is at the end, collector treasurer should just say collector.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. I don't know all the
It's too
official titles.
East Long Meadow has it as one function, but
Okay.
technically it is two separate functions.
Gotcha.
And the treasurer doesn't, the collector does the collecting,
Segregation.
the treasurer does the treasuring. I'm sure that's the official term.
Sounded good.
Sounded good.
They deal with the
So
treasurer.
do we want to vote on each
So-
subsection?
So I think the only reason we put this in was because specifically East Long Meadows, that position is the collector treasurer.
I see what you're saying.
And it's East Long Meadow bylaws, so we don't care about anyone else. And I don't
It's
think
reference
that's,
collector treasurer.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I
Okay,
think
so
all
maybe
of them
we
are
wanna keep it-
referenced
Yeah,
that
part
way.
3, collector treasurer. Yep. No, you're right, Ralph. Reject.
That was Larry Levine that did that, so.
Well, I'm removing the extra space.
Yeah.
Gotta get a small win there.
And I would say vote at the end of the chapter, like, so if we.
So section.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we agree on 1, 2, and then we're in 1, 5, and wanna go back and change something, do we have to revote?
Do we have to change that amended 412 to amended to today?
Yes,
or-
that was gonna be one of my questions, is if we're recodifying this stuff in the process to anywhere we see amended in some date in the past, do those go away since?
So I think
So
the charter, your charter change
those
fixes
E-code
it.
did all of that. So, once this is all voted on, once it's approved, anything that changes, E-code automatically puts in
Oh.
amended on such and such a date.
It's not officially changed until town council votes on it.
Exactly, which is a year and a half away.
You have to wait on it.
So this way, we might not be done.
So at that, well, at that point, it may be a $400 fee instead, just to cover expenses.
The only two other little things are just,
In 1, 2?
yeah, and one, two, just I'm a big fan of the Oxford comma, so before the ors that we have, I think it helps to make it.
Yeah.
I know, I was gonna say it, but I'm like,
Agreed. Yeah.
I think that was it.
yeah. Yeah, Graham really just wants to fix everything.
Yeah,
Can run it at the end.
moving on.
Construction of terms. The following rule of construction shall be observed in constructing these bylaws unless inconsistent with the manifest intent or the context.
That phrase is good.
Alright.
Yes. A, words importing the singular shall include the plural, words importing the plural shall include the singular, and words importing the masculine gender shall include the feminine.
Yep.
The word streetways, comma,
Yeah.
and highways shall be construed to include all public ways, townways, highways, bridges, streets, traveled parts of highways, so far as such constructed is not contrary to law.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, what about the word road? There's a lot of roads in town. Does that make any difference? Would you have to
It
include?
includes all public ways,
Yeah, okay.
townways, highways, bridges, streets, traveled parts of highways. It's weird
So-
that they omitted roads.
No, actually, it's not. So I'm trying to think, under DOT, they have a definition for streets, and streets shall include all roads,
Oh, okay.
singular, secondary roads, da-da-da-da-da. And that's why
So
we said
streets encompass
streets,
it all.
because streets encompasses all
Got
of
it.
it. God, I can't believe I remember this.
Or if we don't have
Or when we were talking about the mixed use thing and it was thoroughfare was the word we
Yes.
were using for everything.
Alright, so, sorry, Rich, you don't get roads.
Oh, no, Ralph had it
You
ready.
get thoroughfares. The word owner applied to a building or land shall include part owner, joint owner, tenant in common, or joint tenant of the whole or of part of such building or land. Or joint tenant of the whole or of part
Or of a part
or of a part
of such
of.
building or land.
It's choppy, but
It's
It's written by a lawyer,
yeah.
Yeah.
and I wouldn't tamper with it.
I think it gets the meaning across.
And there's like legal review of some sort on the back end, right?
Oh, yeah.
Alright, D, the word tenant or occupant applied to a building or land shall include any person who occupies the whole or part of such buildings or land, either alone or with other persons.
Yeah.
Good. The word person shall include limited liability companies, corporations, societies, associations, partnerships, or the legal formation of entities, Oxford comma. Good?
Yep.
Words prohibiting anything from being done except in accordance with a license, permit, or authority from a board or office shall be construed as giving such board or office power to license, permit, or authorize such a thing to be done.
Man, that is real doublespeak.
That is double speak, all right. You're not kidding. Except in accordance with the license. I'm gonna put the
Okay,
commas
yep.
in.
Yeah, it is weird because it's like words for prohibiting anything being done.
Shall be construed as giving such board power to the license.
Like if it. Kinda like the
Maybe
planning
go back
board.
with Jim, so it sounds like they're written by a
The
lawyer.
planning board through zoning and stuff would prohibit, your conservation commission may prohibit you from cutting trees down.
Yeah.
And by doing so, they have a license to do that. I think this is just stating the obvious. If the conservation says you can't do it,
need
you
their
can't say,
approval.
well, you don't have a license to tell me that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. I'm good on G.
Good on F.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think G's pretty self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Each as well.
Just out of curiosity, who is doing minutes?
Well, you nominated yourself.
I started to, and I'm highlighting things, so I'll try to type that up after.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe we could just say reviewed, and then you have this as a copy
Yeah.
attached to the minutes. Bylaws should be construed as ordinances where appropriate under the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That's easy. Any references to MGL will mean a reference to the Massachusetts general laws. Everybody good with that one? Ralph?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Effective date of bylaws. These bylaws shall take effect when duly adopted by town council pursuant to the requirements of the town charter and published or posted pursuant to the requirements of the general laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, MGL Chapter 40, Section 32A as amended.
I have one thing on that. A lot of the other places, especially with point I that we just went through with saying MGL, elsewhere in the bylaws just say like MGL, C, number, whatever. I feel like saying general laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
then
before
saying
MGL
Massachusetts
just
general
doesn't
laws.
need to be there.
So you're saying remove
It's
the
redundant?
highlighted section?
Yeah.
So what do you want to remove?
So it would just be pursuant to the requirements of MGL C40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially for that one, because it's literally right after we
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Everybody good?
So, just out of curiosity, let's see, pursuant to the requirements of the town charter. And then if you go back, earlier, instead of the town charter, it says in the town charter. Do we have a preference when we talk about requirements? Should it be in town charter or of town charter? And I think we should make it consistent.
I would agree.
And let me find where I had that again. Number C, 1-1C, pursuant to requirements in the town charter. And then this one's of the town charter.
Does anybody have a preference?
I was more formal, but
Of?
I don't know if it makes any difference whatsoever, or if we,
But consistency would be good.
Yeah. That's
It
a
always
hard
sounded
one.
normal to me to say like pursuant to the town charter,
so not no other way, just the town charter.
pursuant of the town charter. So no.
well, pursuant to the requirements
Yeah.
in the town charter or of the town charter.
So then do we need to add the word requirements?
Well, it's in
everywhere we
there.
say that?
Most places, the requirements is in there.
Yeah. That's in there.
I mean,
Pursuant to the requirements.
I think both are factually accurate.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna be an easy proofread to find all those.
Actually, it pretty much
Of.
is, because you just hit requirements in any place on E-code, it pops up and you can look.
Is in or of.
Or does it matter?
I don't think it matters, but I like in.
I like of.
Yeah. I like of, but I can go.
We got 2 for of, 1 for in.
I like in.
Oh,
2 to 2. How about we just leave it alone then?
we can leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Just, can you do a quick control F and see how many times requirements pops?
Requirements in
No, just requirements, just the word, because it could be either way, so,
121.
yeah, so that's 121 edits.
Yeah, that'd be a little bit much, yeah.
Requirements in is 6 times. Requirements of is 60.
So that means
All
that.
right.
I guess, I guess
So
which
it makes
one-
me wonder what the other 60 times requirements in reference. It could be other stuff, but, yeah, yeah.
Alright, so we'll leave
Yeah.
those, and we are scratching the general laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, because it's already referred to in MGL.
Yeah,
Severability, 1.1-5. The invalidity of any section or provision of these bylaws shall not invalidate any other section or provision thereof. The repeal or amendment of any bylaw or portion of these bylaws shall not affect or prevent the prosecution or punishment of any person for any act done or committed in violation of any bylaw so repealed or amended prior to the taking effect of the bylaw repealing or amending the bylaw.
I have a question. What's the difference between a section and a provision in here? Is a provision just referring to like a statement or clause within a bylaw?
That's what I think.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's redundant with section if we're
Or
trying to-
provision.
Yeah, but I only feel so strongly about that.
Well, maybe that's saying if, like, let's say that somehow, whether it's the courts or even the town itself deciding we want to strike sentences out of one of these sections, but we're not getting rid of the section entirely. Those are
Just
two
one
different
provision
things.
in the section.
Yeah.
They're 2 different things, because if you look at the top of the page, it's the whole section's general provisions, and there's multiple sections within it.
So,
So one
1.1 is
section, like
provision.
1-5, may not
so
be
each,
legal.
each section is actually a provision. Underneath double is a provision.
I would say every double S is a section, and the whole thing is your provisions.
So,
That's why we're under general provisions.
alright, so I have another question in terms of hierarchy then. Should we be provision or section, because provisions sit above sections, we have bylaws, provisions, sections then, right? Is that the hierarchy?
I was
Yes.
thinking it's more like, I think it's confusing because this particular bylaw happens to have a section named general provisions, but I always interpreted it that
In
like,
legal documents, a section is a numbered entitled division that contains specific provisions or rules, while provisions is a general term for a specific clause or requirement within a section or legal document.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. So like 1-3, A,
That
B,
makes
C,
sense.
D,
Okay.
those are individual provisions within.
That's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
say that again,
Okay.
Connor?
So like on 1-3 where we've got like A,
A, B, C,
through
D.
I.
Yeah.
So like A would be
Oh,
a
okay.
A is,
provision.
is its own provision, B is its own provision, whereas 1-3 is the entire
Alright.
section.
Section.
So a different
So it's just the
suggestion.
opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So should this be, instead of general provisions, is this general bylaws, and then it's composed of sections and provisions?
I think general provisions still make sense because this is saying that the provisions underneath these are just
Sure.
general in nature.
Okay.
Yeah, because actually it looks like general provisions refers to the entirety of.
And I think we have that across a bunch of different bylaws where it's like we have a general section sometimes at the beginning to outline an overview of what's to come.
Can't
inside
wait
of
to
it.
hear what the attorney says.
I know, yeah.
How would they think
Morons. Blurbs.
Yeah. Fragments.
Cracker Jackbox lawyers.
Good on 1.5, 1-5?
Yeah. Okay, because I'm used to laws, regulations, parts, subparts, clauses, and provisions technically only within solicitations for government contracts, and clauses actually government contracts, and those are two different things, so I'm anchored to a different term, provisions, or definition.
Okay, pause on procedure, we've completed Article 1, is this when we take a vote?
You're gonna be chairman, aren't you? You're cutting me off.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
That's what I was just gonna say. Rich. Alright, so I'll entertain a motion to recommend the modifications to Article 1 in the general provisions as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
As amended or as highlighted?
Recommended. So we
Got
amended the amended version. This is the amended version, which is a recommendation.
I'm in favor.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion
Woohoo!
carries.
All right. Article 1, Ralph, just like that.
18 months left.
40 minutes.
Well, we're finding our rhythm, we got 4
That's right.
pages now, that's not bad.
It seems like some of these might be pretty quick. Like non-criminal disposition.
Had to say it, didn't you?
violations. Right. Let's see. Violations of certain bylaws, rules, and regulations. A non-criminal disposition procedure using the civil infraction procedure in MGL Chapter 40, Section 21D is enacted for violations of the state codes, Town of East Long Meadow bylaws, rules, and regulations.
Comma.
Yep. And the reference law hasn't changed, like. we're just-
That's what I was gonna ask is,
So the nice thing is whenever it does change E-code, electronically will update everything. They have an attorney on staff and they go through all of them.
Okay.
That's
And they'll,
what I
like,
wanna know.
if something changed in the body of the text, they'd send
That's
Exactly.
it.
the
Okay.
thing where we
Yep.
put these bylaws like on the town website so they're searchable and kind of like all in one place.
yeah.
Yeah, so E-code's actually a company
Okay.
that does all of this for us. And they caught a ton of them, by the way, when we first went through it.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
We had references to stuff that had been repealed 30 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, legal proofreading is very good.
This is E-code.
Oh, okay.
It's like
You
go
haven't been
through-
on that, Rich?
Huh?
You haven't been on this?
I don't think so.
So on the main page of the town's website,
Yeah.
it has the code.
Yeah.
You can click on it, it brings you right to it.
Oh, okay,
So
got
if you
it.
need to know bylaws, you can search, like, just type in the word dog, and like licenses, fees, anything comes up with
That
it.
is good.
Yeah.
Better than a scanned unsearchable copy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alright, so 1-6.
1-6, we added a comma,
Yes.
which lawyers will probably remove. Put to pay for that. Speaking of commas, in the header of 1.6, do we need the comma up there too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where?
Good catch. Rules, comma, and regulations. This one.
Yeah,
right
but I
here.
don't, that semicolon doesn't belong, that should be, that's
Oh, I
also
was thinking.
up above the heading.
Oh.
It should be $93, comma, amended in its entirety for, I think, myself. But it's, semicolon means that there's two
So that's
separate
not part of it
sentences.
anyways, that just says when it was adopted, and
Okay, so
that's
just
gonna
leave it as,
change
okay,
anyways.
thank you, okay, minor thing, okay, got it.
1-7, issuance of citations. Citations for violations of the bylaws, codes, rules, or regulations made enforceable under this article shall be issued by the designated enforcing officer authorized in writing by the appointing authority which has voted to have the designated bylaw, code, rule, and/or regulation enforced under this bylaw.
So what this is saying is the
That's what
town council has already designated the police to
That's the.
enforce.
Right,
Yeah,
But-
this is,
but
this
we
is the
can-
rule to allow for the delegation of authority.
Yeah.
and we could delegate someone else to
Someone
do
else.
it if we so chose, but
But isn't the appointing authority
the town
manager?
council, no, town council. Rules and regs, legislative, town managers in charge of employees and
But
So
the
any
enforcing officer would be your employee?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of one of those like, we need the agreement of the town manager to sort of.
So
But-
we're authorizing them to be able to do it.
Yeah,
We're
but we're
not
not
telling
directing
them
how
to do it.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's the enforcing officer, is who's allowed to issue it, but the authority is granted in writing by the appointing authority, which is the town council.
To have the designated force under this bylaw.
Yeah, because it's what the designated enforcing officer issues our citations. Again, written by a lawyer, but
Right?
Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
that's what the first step is getting at. And then authorized in writing by the appointing authority describes who a designated enforcing officer is.
So why would it say town council?
That was my point. It sounds like a lot of,
Yeah,
Well, 'cause I
instead of
think
the
in this-
appointing authority by the town council, you're thinking that's what it should say?
So voted at the
So-
Well, because not
so-
everything is us, because like when it says bylaws, yes, but codes, that could be like building codes, that has nothing to do with the town council, right? That would just be directly under.
So
Health codes.
The health codes, yeah, I can see that. I was thinking planning, if we had like a planning zoning enforcement officer. The planning board would be the ones that vote to have the designated bylaw enforced under this bylaw,
Yeah.
right?
If Mass General Law didn't already tell them who it has to be, yeah.
Right. Cause the appointing authority doesn't have to be the
So
town
the-
council.
So the planning board technically, no. It's the building commissioner who's the zoning enforcement officer. So the planning board can tell the building commissioner of a violation, but it's still the building commissioner's job to review it and so choose whether or not he wants to enforce any of it. It used to be, before the change of government, it used to be the planning board was in charge and could direct them. But now with the change of government, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Just like before, when these were first written, it was the Board of Selectmen who was the authority. Now it becomes, because of our charter, the council. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I think there's
it's an overarching thing,
two
yeah.
commas, but
Two.
the first sentence and then before and or.
Yeah, and it's the same thing would be first line.
You
would
put
be-
it after the or, but it should be after rule on the second one.
Right.
Oh, I missed.
Yeah. Perfect.
Alright. I'm good on B, except, so we say citations in A and a ticket in B.
So tickets should be citation.
Yeah, or I,
Or vice
I'm
versa.
fine with, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyone
Yeah,
have
either
a
one word in
preference?
both or both words in both. I don't care.
Yeah, I think citation, we should be consistent.
Yeah. Sounds
Yeah.
more official.
Yeah. Or tickets more of like a thing.
Yeah.
Alright, good on B.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Any authorized employee, who's an authorized employee?
That was
So
authorized by
violation.
A.
Part A,
Huh?
yeah.
That was authorized by A.
Which
by
is like the police or the building commissioner? It's, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And that authority, I assume it's generally narrow, like planning board
very
can't,
narrow.
yeah,
Yeah, but it's just observing, I mean, as Ralph gave the example of the planning board telling the commissioner, research this.
Well, that's the whole thing with the building commissioner. He has to go out and observe that there was a violation.
Yeah, not just get like a anonymous
Okay,
letter
thank
and
you,
send
okay.
someone a ticket,
Thank
Yeah.
you.
citation.
Yeah.
Or both.
Or both, or both.
Yeah. Well, that's like it'd be like the run on like the streets, roads, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and highways, whatever that one was. Yeah.
Okay, we're flying.
1.8, the penalty under the civil infraction procedure for each violation of any bylaw, code, rule,
Comma.
or regulation shall be designed in each bylaw, code, rule, already got this comma, or regulation enforced under this bylaw. Each day a violation shall be considered a separate violation. The penalty is this penalty is an alternative to the criminal penalties that are set forth in this bylaw.
Yeah. So just so I'm understanding this, so just the maximum fee or maximum fine is $200. I can fine $200.
Each offense.
Right. So
And each
day
day is
one,
day
one
could
offense,
be-
day two. Yep.
Could be.
Yes.
Could be.
So that's not the practice in our town.
Yeah,
It's each
yeah.
time he views the offense.
Yeah.
Well, because you have to observe, if
Yeah.
each one is in a separate
Right.
offense, you have to observe it
Yeah.
per
Yeah.
section B that we just talked about.
Otherwise, you can observe it on the 1st of the month, and on the 30th of the month, send them another citation for 30 times 200. And I wouldn't be able to afford that.
Good on 1.8.
Yes.
All right, 1.9. Enforcement officer duty to track citations, report of fines.
Take away that semicolon, please. Okay, the commas inspired me with the commas, you know.
You're gonna go out for the semicolons? What
Yeah.
But that's not, yeah, it's not appropriate.
do you want it to be?
Comma.
I almost feel like it should be like 1-9-1, but I don't know how wild we're gonna get. You know, like a report of fines. Let's read it first before I just go down my tangent. Shall be the responsibility of the head of each department or the department heads designate to purchase, distribute, comma, and track the citations issued under this article. The collector treasurer shall, upon request, provide a report of the fines received pursuant to this article, showing by department, board, or committee the amount received as a result of tickets issued by such department. So tickets is gonna go citations,
Yeah. Two commas there.
comma
words.
there, comma there.
Yeah, I'm fine with this as its own
Yeah.
section. I think going where you were talking about, Ryan, like if we wanted to make it C under issuance of citations, we could say issuance and tracking of citations.
Cause I almost feel like it's two different responsibilities. Department heads have to track it, the
Right.
collector treasurer has to report
I
it.
think that's the argument for it being separate from 1.7.
So in here it says,
So this is the tracking and reporting,
Yeah.
and 1.7 is basically the issuance.
issuance,
So-
1.9 is tracking.
And I guess because it could
Okay.
be two different people, right? Like the people issuing it
Yeah.
may not be the department head that is
So
responsible
you wanna split
for.
them, you wanna split them into an A and B subsection, like A and B?
I mean, we don't, I'm splitting hairs, I just think it's
Yeah.
two separate
It
functions.
is, it
Yeah.
is.
Another splitting hairs thing, should 1.8 go before 1.6, because we go violations, issuance, violations, enforcement. So we could go violations, violation, issuance, enforcement for tracking.
Yeah, so like flows logically.
Yeah,
Oh, you see me move 1.8 to 1.7 and 1.7 down to 1.8.
correct.
Yeah, I see your point, yeah, violation, yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Makes sense logic.
That means my check marks are gone.
Is that out?
Following this, Jim?
Mental diagram real?
Yeah, Article 2.
Yeah.
So is that the way it normally works, Ryan? So let's say the building commissioner, well, the building commissioner is probably the only one issuing. So health department, if the inspector goes out, is it Tammy's job to keep track of all the tickets that are issued? Or is it the inspector's job?
I guess according to this, it could be Tammy's
Probably either.
designee. Yeah.
I guess it could be either at that
Right.
point. I just wasn't sure if in practice it actually works this way. Just like, is it actually the collector treasurer that would give you the report? Or would it be the finance director?
Which is in, clerk treasurer's in finance. Next year down.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah, leave it alone.
Yeah.
Just
Check.
for that first line, head of each department or department head's designee. Can we just say department head or their designee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just sounds really weird. Department head.
And then, actually, now that I'm
Shall be
looking
the
again,
responsibility.
to purchase, or I guess, okay, so buy the citation book, distribute them, and then track, okay, fine.
I,
yeah.
well,
Yeah, I don't know why, but I don't think many people really.
Yeah.
that, the one that you just said was something that came up with one of the bylaws that we just recently did. And we put it as saying like this or this is something so that we avoided having to put particular pronouns in there that maybe like singular or plural or something. So by saying like department head or the department head's designee, we're not like ambiguous. Is it there? Is it he or she? Is it something else?
So say leave there.
No, I think we're saying like maybe leave the department head's designee is how we did other ones. So I feel like whatever way we go, it should be like either using pronouns or we're just always putting
Yeah.
the noun everywhere. That makes sense.
So you wanna put that back? I'll keep it there, Al, excuse me?
Either that or we need to change all the other
Whatever.
places to.
I feel like it, department head or their designee, it's neutral.
It's neutral. And I think that was the whole thing. I remember Marilyn bringing it up, and I forgot what it was involved with.
Yeah, but I think they were stuck on it making it sound plural even though it wasn't. Even though I agree that it is a more neutral term. But
Good with
I don't mind it, I just know that there's a lot of places in all of the
all.
bylaws that say that kind of thing, so whatever way we
There should
go,
be a
we
committee
should.
that goes through them all.
Yeah, we just need to be consistent.
I put a comment on there so we can always go back if we decide later.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, it's 7. So do we want to vote on Article 2?
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion to recommend Article 2 as amended in this amendment document.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No.
No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Any abstentions? None. The motion carries to approve Article 2. It's 7 on the dot.
Can I make one suggestion? Should we decide what to look at before we come to the meeting? So we come to the meeting, instead of reading it out loud, we've already gone over it, we can, or do you wanna stay with reading it out loud together? I don't.
I kinda
I
like
happen
reading
to
it out
like
loud.
reading it out loud,
You do?
only
Okay,
because
fine.
you pick up a lot more.
Yeah.
I would say like go over the next 3 articles just to be safe, so we can have ideas, but still read it out loud.
I'd say just give it a general idea of what we're gonna go over so we
Yeah.
can do some
Yeah,
homework.
cause
Yeah.
they'll make it go quicker, like,
Yeah.
cause you'll know what there's no discussion
And it's
about.
just like 3 or 4 articles in advance, nothing crazy.
I
Yeah.
think one topic of homework though should also be, as we're gonna start getting into town departments, which ones and when do we need to communicate with the town manager's office
good
to
idea.
start getting their feedback? 'Cause
Yeah.
if we go through it and vote on stuff and then 3
We
months
hate
from now, oh, now we get feedback.
We're
from
deleting the IT department.
Yeah.
So like town elections and town council, maybe talk to the clerk
Well, I
run elections, or?
I think most of these
That sounds pretty
are
basic though.
broken down into their departments.
Yeah,
Municipal
they're all pretty
finance,
Town manager.
town accountant. So maybe send an email out asking them to review their department.
Ask them for input. hearsay?
Yeah, and I can ask Tom, because he said he would be willing to do that and
Yeah, I would
coordinate
just send it,
some communications.
I would just send an email to everyone, so if we're getting really like far ahead, we don't have to stop and be like, oh, we haven't heard from them yet. So just
Yeah.
send an email to all town department heads to be like, hey,
Yeah, I'll just have Tom do it though in the spirit of the charter
Yeah.
so that we're not like
of course, yeah.
overstepping.
So we got through, if I'm counting right, we got through 3 pages tonight.
We got through general provisions to Article 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Article 3,
Adoption of code, the next one.
that's
Looks
another
pretty
couple
big.
pages.
And town elections and town council.
Yeah, do we wanna shoot for, oops, sorry.
Chapter 37 is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I was gonna say 40's straightforward, even.
Well, that's where we may want the town manager to have some input
Yeah,
though.
55 and 65 are as well.
Yeah,
But
we
if
need
we let
input.
those people know, like town manager, council of the aging, and LCAT, that's our plan for the next meeting?
Yeah.
Or should we?
I would say just hit all departments, this way they can all,
I said give them a deadline
yeah.
to review it real
Yeah.
quick and get your feedback in.
Yeah, so
But I
then
would suggest that
maybe
we
the-
just continue to go through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if we get feedback, we can double back
Like
and
that,
take a
Yeah.
look.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I know a lot of it, like Council of Aging, we just went through and changed that,
Okay.
was it
Yeah.
the Council of Aging or no, it was a board.
Yeah, that was the Commission on Disability or what it renamed.
Yeah.
Oh, the ADA commission or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are we thinking? Try to get through, let's say, chapter 65? I mean, that's quite a
I
few
mean,
pages, but I think.
Yeah,
I think
well,
I think
even through chapter 92 is 16 pages, and at least one of them's blank. Like, emergency services, yeah, there's only 14 pages.
Yeah, some we can wait.
But they would have to be careful knowing that we're still gonna be getting input back from those departments, the police, the fire,
Yeah,
et
sure.
cetera.
I think what you're gonna find though, when we get into a lot of the departments, the composition of all of these is exactly the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Department head, what they do, the duties, annual
Yeah.
report.
Right, okay.
And,
So, yeah, to try to beat Ralph's year and a half goal, do we shoot for 92, chapter 92, and if we don't get through, we don't get through.
So what's your recommendation, we're gonna shoot up through 92?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't
Okay.
think that's too much of a
No,
burden, like,
hey.
read 16 pages before the next meeting, hopefully.
They're quick pages. And
Yeah.
not
Beautiful,
dense.
okay.
so
Yeah.
we didn't have to go through
Minus the IT
chapter
department, it's very
135.
I wanted to delete it.
Gotta chop that down.
Just write C Ryan.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, when's our next meeting?
So, should we pay for third?
Do we wanna do, we do weekly or every other?
We used to, I think we said every other, I thought.
Every other, yeah, I wasn't at the first meeting.
That's how you get to be elected
Oh, so
chair.
that's why I'm chair.
And do we
And I
wanna
won't be here
do
next week.
Thursdays?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesdays or Thursdays work, just this
Yeah.
Thursday didn't work for me.
Yeah,
What
Wednesdays
doesn't
and
work for you?
Thursdays.
This Thursday
Oh,
didn't, but
okay.
So tomorrow doesn't work for you?
exactly.
I was gonna see if you wanted to go out to dinner tomorrow. I guess you're busy.
So that would be April 10th.
April 3rd.
The third.
Oh, I went 1 week too far. Sorry. Yeah.
It's 6 o'clock works for
6
everybody?
P.
Yeah.
Yep.
6 PM, all right, action.
Yeah, it's nice if like Thursday's the default, but flexibility on Wednesday if there's conflicts.
Yeah.
What else is-
This is George's.
Motion to adjourn, I guess?
Yes, so moved.
Moved,
Second.
seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Yeah.
opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 7:06.